I was a horrible CEO. I was a bad operator.
What went wrong and what have you learned from it?
I played to a weakness of mine. Build out loud. And you just got to keep getting back up. The one who lasts the longest usually wins the biggest.
The future of content has to be like raw and real, especially now with AI. It's so easy to put like slop out there, right?
It's going to be painful. It's really fucking hard. It's going to be the best moments of your life. It takes one person to hear your story and they change your life forever. And why should I spend time on things I'm bad at when life is so short and you could invest in the things that you're good at?
Hey Jake, so today's guest is Jake Karls, co-founder and chief rainmaker of Midday Squares, the chocolate brand that went from kitchen tables in Montreal to over 10,000 stores across North America. So before Midday Squares, Jake failed multiple businesses and couldn't land a corporate job. Today, he's built one of the most founder-led brands, documenting the journey publicly and building in the open. So thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
I love failure. No, I do. I think a big thing is reframing failure in life. I think like people think that when you fail, it's a bad thing. But for me, if I didn't go through those moments of business hardships and even getting rejected from so many jobs, I wouldn't be with you guys today, right? So I think in society, we need to work on, even in the education system, how can we reframe failure to not be scared of it, but to actually lean towards it? That's why when you said the intro, I was like fired up because I heard the failure. I was like, yeah.
Get it in.
Those are good moments in my life.
Something I'm definitely interested in that I wanted to ask you as soon as Ashna reached out to me is, I feel like most brands today, they all try to look super polished and corporate online, but you guys are doing it very differently, which is essentially the complete opposite of what, the regular.
We're taught.
So I'm really curious to hear what's the idea behind it and
I think we as humans crave a sense of belonging. Like we crave emotional connection, whether we admit it or not in life, and especially in this world of AI, like, intimacy is critical and being human to human is something very important. So when we started this business, I knew that like if we had a great product and no one knew about it, it wouldn't work, because if no one knew about it, they wouldn't try it. What's the point? So I said, given that we have a great product, so product market fit, that's number one importance. How do we make noise in a way that people actually care? And if they care, they'll want to opt into communication with us. And if they opt into communication, we could sell them, we could talk to them, we could build community. So I said to my partners day one was, let's be loud. Let's be out there. Let's build out loud. Let's share our story, loud, proud, ugly, good, bad, you name it all. And let's get people to say, this relates to my life. That way I'm interested. And then they look into the product. So what it did was it allowed us to connect deeply with consumers before them even wanting to purchase the product. And that way, when they went to a grocery store where there's, 30,000+ items, and we had one item, it stood out because like, I love those people. I want those people. And I think the polished versus the non-polished is the difference between connectivity and not connecting. Again, authenticity is a buzzword in today's world. I don't know why it shouldn't be, but when you are true to yourself, or when you're true to yourself and you bring that energy, people connect and they feel something. And when you make people feel as a business, they want to support you. They want to cheer you on. They want to help you. Whether they buy your product or not, they want to do something to help you. So we decided the ugly side and the good side was what we were going to show, not the average stuff. And suddenly it went from 10 views on Instagram, then to 100 views, then on LinkedIn it went to millions. And it was like, wow, unpolished content that is truthful and actually kind and not being a bad person actually goes viral or mini viral, and actually builds deeper connection with consumers.
So tell us more about who you are and what you're building as well. We want to know everything about like Midday Chocolate Squares, everything.
Yeah. Well, we started this business, my sister, my brother-in-law and I, in August of 2018. The idea was, let's build an afternoon snacking business that will hopefully be global one day. So better for you afternoon snacking. 2 p.m. crash comes, you have Midday Squares. It carries you through the afternoon. And when we used to tell people about this in 2018, people are like, are you sure you want to do this? Get a real job. Like the world doesn't need another chocolate bar. The world doesn't need another health bar. The world doesn't need another snack bar. And it's almost impossible. And a lot of people tried to dim our light, not directly to be rude, but they were doing it because they loved us and they wanted us to make sure we were going to have a good career. And we blocked out all the noise. And we just started hand making these bars in our condo kitchen in Montreal, which was little size of this carpet area. And we made 50 bars a day. And we just posted things on like unfiltered raw stuff on social media of building the business. And next thing you know, people start buying it. They're like, I want to try this. I want to support these people. And then we had to scale it. And we actually built a manufacturing plant. We didn't co-manufacture the product. And the idea was dominate afternoon snacking. So that's what we've built. And now we're in, like you said, 10,000 plus stores. We've sold millions of chocolate bars and hopefully going to go into tens of more thousands of stores and keep building and dominate afternoon snacking. But the idea is it's a 2-texture layer bar. It's like a peanut butter bottom with now a chocolate top or a jelly top, and it's delicious. Like, it's for everyone that just wants something that's indulgence but better for you at 2 p.m.
I have two things I'm really curious about. I think one, I definitely agree with you that like the future of content has to be like raw and real, especially now with AI. It's so easy to put like slop out there, right? We're trying to make this podcast, and you'll see the transition a bit from how we started to how we're doing it right now.
That's the story, though.
It's so much like it's not. I wouldn't say less organized, but I'd say it's more raw, right? And we're getting more out of our guests.
It's you being you.
100%.
And letting the scrappiness come.
Exactly.
Because that's powerful.
And my nightmare is like, those like influencers who just like post like AI generated content. And I think that's the opposite we're trying to do here. We're trying to make it as raw as possible. So that's one thing. And the second thing is you spoke about PMF, right? I'm curious about what did it take you to reach PMF? And then you also said that you put a lot of content after you hit PMF, but I feel like our guests are interested in knowing how did you manage like the entire journey pre-PMF, which I think is like what we're trying to hit on here, right? Like the hardest part of building a company.
Product market fit is the most important. Exactly. If you don't have product market fit, it doesn't matter how much attention you get or how much noise you make. Because listen, some people have very big audiences and then they launch a product without product market fit, and then the repurchase does not happen. The service doesn't get repurchased. The product doesn't get repurchased. So for us, this product was actually built by my sister and brother-in-law prior to me even joining as the third founder, because they were working on this for like almost 2 years as a snack that they had every day for themselves. So my brother-in-law would eat junk in the afternoon, and my sister made him something cleaner that was a version of the Midday Square, let's call it. And then they read a report that showed that chocolate at the time, real chocolate or dark chocolate, was growing, 30-40% year over year, and that plant-based proteins at the time was growing very fast year over year. So my brother-in-law, he's a software engineer by trade. He's a data guy. He saw that these two categories were massive growth categories. My sister was just making a plant-based snack at the time that had, real chocolate. So we knew that there would be a pull once we released it into the market. That's when they came to me and they're like, hey, we've got product market fit. We spent 2 years building this, commercializing this product, going through 167 trials. We now need you to blow it up because you are a brand builder, you are a storyteller. And if you don't want to join as the founder, we're going to go hire someone that's going to be basically a CMO or a community builder. And I decided at the moment, I just came off a business that failed. I was feeling a little bit depressed. I was sad. I was lonely. I was, insecure with what my life was going to look like, because I just went bust on a business. My ex-girlfriend at the time also, I went through heartbreak. Now I'm married and I love my wife. Different person, but mad respect to everyone that has been in my life. But I would say that I was in a weird state, and I said, you know what? I've got one more entrepreneurial run. I said, but if we're going to do this, you can't just have product market fit. So you guys spent 2 years building that data, trials, testing, all the stuff that needs to get done. Now I'm going to give you a strategy that's going to blow this business up, because at the time, social media and content was becoming hot. People were slowly getting more open to like vulnerable content and also like very momentous content rather than just perfect polished content. And we were one of the early brands to do it. And I said, document, take a tripod out, film, post it. Those two things in parallel, product market fit with that strategy, allowed us to get fast growth. Why? Because people were craving good quality content that was real, and they were also craving a product that actually was meant to be in the market, product market fit. So once we had that, our first year goal of revenue was $250,000 in the first year, was what my partner suggested me, of chocolate bars. And I looked at them, I said, you're out of your fucking mind, excuse my language, you're out of your mind. The world, we're not gonna sell 100,000 chocolate bars, approximately. And they had such delusional belief that it was possible that I was attracted to that energy. And I was like, you know what, I'll just go with the flow. We banged that out in the first 3 months. We hit it. So I was like, that's when I knew we had product market fit and a business. And then I went all in, like full throttle. Like my whole life I sacrificed from that moment on till today, and hopefully longer, to building this dream.
How long has it been? Sorry.
7.5 years. And a lot of the time we spent not on growth, actually, focused on operations, so the manufacturing components. So, most food and beverage brands, not most, but majority, basically, they third party their manufacturing. So as soon as you have a product market fit, like idea, you usually take it to a co-manufacturer and then they scale it for you and you focus on sales and marketing. We tried that route. We went to 24, 26 different co-manufacturers across North America. And a lot of them told us the same thing, saying like, it's very hard to make your product at scale. You have to change this, you have to change that. textures, blah, 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 ingredients. We said, screw it. We're going to build the product the way we want to build it. And we figured out how to build a manufacturing plant, but that took many years. Now we make about 150 plus thousand of them per day from 50 bars in 2018. So
That's pretty crazy.
pretty wild, but that's where a lot of the time went. Now the last year and this year, we're actually focused on sales infrastructure and marketing infrastructure, which is the fun stuff, more or less.
So for our audience who wants to start maybe like a consumer brand, maybe in the food and beverage industry, what is like a hot piece of advice you would give them?
I want to give two pieces of advice. So consumer and then just general entrepreneurship for anyone that's starting. I think for consumer, it's important to focus on not many SKUs when you launch. So like, we had a brownie batter was our first SKU. We did that SKU for the first year. We didn't even focus on anything else. We just built that product because it wasn't there was no distraction. It was obsessing with the product, keep perfection, continuous improvements till we had it. Then we went into other SKUs. It's very easy to go for the shiny new thing and say, I just want to launch new things, launch, dopamine. The problem is you start to lose focus and you start to lose efficiencies potentially. So for any consumer brand, stay focused on a tight SKU count. Now for any entrepreneur in any business, AI, consumer, SaaS, I don't know, whatever you're going to do, build out loud. We live in a digital world. You cannot not build out loud. And I think that, listen, some businesses, they can't release information because of certain privacy and safety and all that stuff. But for majority of entrepreneurs, it takes one person to hear your story on LinkedIn, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever platform you're on, Snapchat, and they hear your story and they change your life forever. They invest in you. They can, partner with you. They could be your next teammate. They could buy your service, your product. It takes one person. The only way that person probably sees your story is using the surface area of the internet. And that means you have to share it. And when you share your story, share your true story. Don't share the one that's the polished version or the one that the herd is doing that's basically conforming you to be like everybody else. Be different because you are unique. You are unique. Your business is unique because you guys are creating something unique. Share that. And I think it's very easy to get caught in being risk adverse rather than being yourself. And I think if you be yourself and you follow your gut and you block all the noise out, you will win in your 0 to 1 phase because it just takes the focus and then the storytelling and you have a chance.
I think it's spot on.
Yeah.
And I'm not an expert. I just have been through it now. I've been an
100%.
entrepreneur for over a decade.
You've lived through all these experiences.
And we've also seen it partially. For example, Ashna is very active on socials,
Yeah,
right?
you are.
And our investors have seen, Ashna posting previously was one of, it's like, they've seen her out there like posting like real content.
Relatability,
So
trust.
It's like, we've seen the benefits of this for sure as
But
well.
don't get fooled by posting. So what I mean by that is like, it's easy, it's sharing your story. It's a fine line because I'm sure you know this because you share your content, but it's exhausting. And, there's moments where you might be inauthentic and it's uncomfortable because, you post something and it's not actually you. And like, then it's like, it feels a little dirty. I can't explain it. So, content for me, like, I think I'm a little bit too much in the content because it's almost like addicting. And I don't think that's healthy, to be honest with you. So you just got to balance it. Like you have to have a team where someone's ops focused and someone's storytelling focused. Why? Because they both need to move at the same time up. And I just think content's it's a scary game if you get too into the realm of this digital world and not focus on also the real world of what's going on. So they need to be very check and balance, I would say.
I'm so curious, like how did you start doing this? Like it must have been really difficult. Scary, right?
My partners are introverts. So my sister and brother-in-law are introverts. I'm an extrovert. Maybe you can't tell it. Maybe you could tell. But at first for them, it was really scary. It was like it's like almost like you're naked, you're exposed, and people judge you and not everyone's kind in the world. And the moment you put content out there, you have to be okay with judgment, with negativity, with people that are going to say very mean things to you. And you got to have a very strong shield. That's not you don't ignore it, but you actually believe in yourself so much that it's okay. And I always looked at trolls originally as, why is this person saying something so mean to me? And it would hurt. Now it's very different. So posting this vulnerable stuff, and even if people are saying things, I actually look to empathize with the person, because if you say something very rude to me and you don't even know me, and I'm putting out content that's positive, optimistic, hopefully added value to people, and you're putting me down for that, something must be wrong in your life, and how can I help? So I actually reach out to people. I say, hey, you good? Like privately, you give me a call. Here's my number. And 6, 7 out of 10 times people say sorry. And they're like, I had a bad day. I don't even know you. I saw your content and I was going through something. And 3 to 4 out of 10 times they're just bad people. So you block them. But it changed my perspective, and then it made me less scared to post content that was vulnerable because I made it wasn't a me thing, it was a that person thing. And again, putting content out there is scary. So anyone that's out there, it is scary. Take baby steps. You don't have to put a therapy session out. You don't have to put a big win in your life that's crazy, may expose you to competition. But little steps every day of just getting familiar with content and posting even to a Google Drive or some sort of thing online just to put it up there will create the muscle of creating content, the muscle. And you need that muscle. You might not need to be the spokesperson of the company, but you still need to have an ability to have some sort of content out there that people, whether it's investors, new clients, new team members, can at least feel and see and learn from. But if you don't post content, you might be falling behind.
We just interviewed the CEO of LinkedIn, and he said it's like,
I love LinkedIn.
yeah, he was like, it's like getting reps in. Like, you just gotta like, you know, go to the gym, get a couple of reps in. You're not used to it, and then eventually it becomes this kind of muscle that, you know, you've been working on training and becomes normal.
Think about it. LinkedIn, I used to think LinkedIn was just a platform, and I have no affiliation with them, but I used to think it was just a platform for corporate posting of like job interviews and stuff like that. And people do it for that. But the moment I started to change it and tell my story, that was about my story within the business world. So it was authentic, it was emotional. There was like a sense of like vulnerability to it. Next thing you know, the views just start going up. Not only did the views go up, it paralleled with opportunities. So it paralleled with retail opportunities, it paralleled with investment opportunities, it paralleled with media opportunities and stages to take. And I realized that this is one of the hottest platforms for growing a business. And if you're not posting on it, you're really missing out on the ride. And I don't know anyone on LinkedIn, so hopefully maybe you can introduce me to people there. But I create a lot of content there, and it's driven tremendous value for me, my personal brand, but also Midday Squares as a company.
I think specifically LinkedIn as a platform, overall, right? You see less authentic, like, you know, people on the platform. So when you start posting authentic content, you stand out.
It literally pops.
And that's
like
that's
that. It goes,
that's exactly why. Because if you open X, for example, right, no one's gonna, you know, if you look at the tweets that are,
a lot of action
it's a
on
lot
there.
of action. It's like very, you know, like very
wild
raw.
action.
Yeah, wild
Crazy.
action.
my,
Like
my
raw,
business partner is on
100%.
that platform alone, and he's engaging. I'm like, that. This is a lot.
And that's why I think it's like, you know, there's a huge opportunity on LinkedIn for people who are raw, like authentic, you know, like for example, Ashna posting to like actually, you know, like grow fast and
Build community. For example, like I talked about, like, you know, I published a piece on Entrepreneur.com recently about why we invest in therapy as business partners. And it was powerful. I talked about a vulnerability of mine of struggling and going through hard times. Guess what? All these different people, from people in the finance world to retail to technology, were like, wait, I'm going through that too. I'm going through. Next thing you know, the DMs are flooding in, and it was content that actually popped because it was different. It wasn't the same as everything, and that applies to everything in life. But I would say to you is there's a unique time now to start posting on LinkedIn and flooding it with good quality content, not nonsense content, not just AI generated content, but real content. And you will be different because not everyone's willing to post on that because they're scared of the corporate world, but they shouldn't be. And especially as founders, like, it's such an easy opportunity to build community to help your business.
So I want to talk a little bit about pre-Midday Squares, right? You had a business, completely flopped, not to bring back trauma, but
I had the time of my life doing it though.
yeah, we want to hear more about it. How did you deal with the hardships? What went wrong? And what have you learned from it?
I was a horrible CEO. I was a bad operator. That's what went wrong. So basically, I played to a weakness of mine. And I think a lot of people get caught up in you got to do everything when you build a business. And at the beginning, yeah, you kind of do. But I tried to do the roles that I was really, really not good at. And what ended up happening was it was taking time away from what I was great at. So storytelling, community, brand building. I didn't focus enough on that. And I focused all on the hardships. And I didn't hire out for that. And I didn't, you know, diversify the workload. And the company shut. And that was one of the greatest lessons I've ever been through my life is what am I good at and what am I bad at? And why should I spend time on things I'm bad at when life is so short and you could invest in the things that you're good at? And what I did on my next business was I partnered with two people that were really good at operations, great CEOs, and I was a great brand builder and let me be me. And that built magic when we combined it. But I failed in that business, and I did a business before that, by the way, that was a success. I made, well, success in terms of money and non-success in terms of like, you know, I just shut it after a while. But I was doing what I love. I was bringing energy. And what I learned from the first business is energy is an asset in every business. How you show up to meetings, how you show up to your consumers, how you show up to your investors is a value add. And again, in a world like I talked about before, about conformity, everyone's trying to be very similar. If you bring your energy out, it makes people feel something different, and they care to listen, and they care to talk to you, and they want to work with you, they want to be around you. So that's what I used in my first business, and I applied all of the
What was
learning.
your first business? Sorry to interrupt.
Outdoor fitness boot camps in Montreal. I built like outdoor, it was crazy. Like literally it was on my parents' driveway at first, small driveway, used ladders and cones. I used social media, Snapchat at the time to just show myself working out with no t-shirt on. So I'm shirtless, jacked at the time.
We're gonna put the content. We're gonna put the content on.
I used to think I was on steroids. I never taken steroids in my life. But I looked jacked because I worked out 3 to 4 hours a day in college. And I basically just filmed myself having fun. And I didn't even know what I was doing, to be honest with you, but I was having fun. People just like, I want to be there. I want to be there. Next thing you know, 200 paying clients that summer, built a massive business, had 6 people working with me. It was crazy. I was going to open up outdoor boot camps across the city of Montreal. And then after 3 years, I lost passion for it. And it felt like a chore. And when it started feeling like a chore, I was like, I can't live my life doing something that doesn't make me feel alive every day. I don't mind doing things that are hard, but if it doesn't make me feel alive internally, it's not worth it. So I shut it. But I learned that storytelling from social media is powerful, and that having fun is attractive energy to everybody.
I'm also big on the complementary skill set of like the founding team. That's something we focus a lot on as well.
And if you don't have partners, I think an important lesson that, again, is just from my experience is hire people that are great at what you're not good at. And again, Midday Squares, we're about like 60 of us now, I believe. But Midday Squares wouldn't be where it is today without our team. Like the 3 of us are good at certain things, my partners and I, but without our team, I'll give you an example, our COO, CFO, Vanessa, she's an unbelievable operator, and she's very good at organization, execution, structure, and actually good bureaucracy. And without that, we wouldn't have grown. So, and the rest of the team, how incredible they are. So like, if you don't have partners, your first hire should be what you're not good at. That's complementary to you, not what you're good at. Don't do 2 of the same, because it's just either it might collide or just you won't move the same speed that you need to move at.
I want to ask you more about how were you as a kid? What were you like in school? I want to hear about, I think you've talked about not fitting into like this mold. So I want to hear more about where did you realize that I'm not this conventional guy,
I struggled in school. I was always the one that was like an outlier, not academically in a good way. So I was always the bottom of the class. I have learning disabilities. I struggled. And what I did in the meantime in high school was I just had the time of my life. I just was the class clown, prankster, made noise. People laughed at me or laughed with me. And I had so much fun until it came to graduating, and I was told I might not graduate because my grades were so bad. And in that moment, I felt like a loser. I felt like a societal failure in quotations. Why? Because society meant you have to graduate and all these pressures, right? And my mother was crying in the principal's office because she was told that I might not graduate. So I said to myself, I got to change. I got to be different because I'm disappointing someone I love dearly. And also just like moving backwards in life doesn't sound cool. So in that moment I decided to change. I made a promise to myself that I would just fit in. That's what it was. Just fit in, play it safe, just get by. And I did, and I graduated, and I went to grade 12, 13, which is CEGEP in Montreal, studied business, and then I applied to be an actuary in school. And actuary is like deep math and stats. It's really hard for many people, including myself. And I struggled tremendously, and I did it to prove to people. It wasn't because I wanted to do it, but it was to show people, hey, Jake's actually smart. Like I'm actually academically talented. So if I get this degree, people are going to think that. But I was miserable because it was so difficult. I didn't fit in, and I would cry myself to sleep sometimes and say, tell my mom, I got to come home. I can't do this anymore. And I kept going till the 3rd year, and I dropped out of the program, and I finished with an economics degree. And I applied to every financial modeling job I could, every investment banking job at the time that I could, and then actuarial jobs. And I got rejected 36 different times. And I was like, what's the point? Like you study something, you try to be somebody, and then you can't even get the career in it. Someone always has more than me. Someone always has better grades. Someone always had a better resume. And that clicked to me. I was sitting on my parents' couch and I was watching Shark Tank Jobless, 21, and saw this entrepreneur. He was middle-aged and he was excited. He was so happy, but he had so much risk in his life. He had 2 mortgages, I think, at the time on his house to pay his business. He had kids he could barely put food on the table for. And I'm 21 sitting on my parents' couch with love, with a family, with food, with the things you need in life, health. But I'm panicking because I don't have a job. But this guy has so much to lose, but he's excited. He has what they call in French, joie de vivre, joy of life, purpose. I was attracted. I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. In that moment, I decided that I was never going to try to fit in again, or I was going to try to avoid fitting in all the time. And I just didn't even know what entrepreneurship was. I was like, I'm going to start a business. And I looked at my fitness abilities and I was like, I was jacked. That was a moment in my life where it was liberating. Why? Because it was the first time I went and believed in myself, even though I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But I took a step to not conform and not be like everybody else. And by the way, I have nothing against schools. I love schools. I actually go to guest lecture all over North America for marketing and entrepreneurship. And I respect, all school system. I think the school system actually is good for a lot of people. The discipline, it helps a lot. But for me, it was just hard. And I think there's a lot of me's out there that struggled and didn't know where to go, didn't know how to fit. And I think we could create a space for them in the school system that actually helps them thrive and not feel like an outlier in the bottom of the class. Because it hurt my confidence for a very period of time. And for 10 years or 11 years of my life, I tried to just be someone I wasn't. And inside that was painful because something was off. I knew something was off, but I didn't know what it was. And yes, that was almost 11 years ago that I let go of that. And I realized we get one life, one chance. You don't know when it ends. It could end at any point. So you better do things you love. And that could be school. That could be academia. That could be working at a bank. That could be, being a plumber. That could be starting a tech business. That could be starting a chocolate business or a snack bar business. But you get one life. Don't let it pass by without you at least trying to achieve what you want to achieve in whatever career that is.
I think that's a great message for a lot of people out there who might feel like the place that they're in right now is not where they want to be, but they're also scared to take that next step.
And it's hard.
And it's hard. And like you said, everyone's step might look different, right? What your step is might not be my step. It might not be your step. But like, if you truly, truly care and love what you're doing, you're gonna
win.
Yeah.
It's not, and people just look at success as how much capital do you have? Which, look, I'm a capitalist. I'm a good capitalist. I believe in capitalism, but for good use. And at first, when I started the business, I was like, got to make it big, sell big, do all these things, grow the company to be massive. And then over time, I started to realize it's a privilege to get to do what you choose to do every day. And that's enjoyable. If I could, my real mission in life is not building a snack bar business global. That's the mission of Midday Squares. My personal mission is to show that we built this business to massive scale by being true to ourselves, showing that 3 unaverage people that were not supposed to succeed in quotations were able to build a very big business in a very competitive space, traditional space, by being unapologetically us, trusting what we believe and following ourselves. And that means that anybody can go do that in whatever they want to do, because if 3 of us that were barely supposed to make it did it, so that's really where I'm trying to focus on. And I think that as you go into your life, it doesn't mean to be entrepreneurship. It could be a career, but you got to be you, and that's winning. That's success. That's like real success, because you're showing up every day as you. You're not putting on a mask, and you're the best at your game. I can never beat you at your game. You're the best at your game. I can never beat your game. And to you guys on the camera and listening, you are the best at your game. I'll never beat you there, but I'll beat you every time on my game. And once you lean into that, you are guaranteed to win in whatever winning is defined by you.
Yeah, I want to go back actually to the business. I know you mentioned that there's one specific SKU you guys started with. Is this one that's still the most popular item that you guys sell?
It's our bottom seller.
Really?
Ah.
And I actually, listen, my partners won't agree with me, but I'm like against that SKU. Like, meaning like I don't know, it did its purpose. It helped us get off the ground. But now we've launched these like new SKUs that are like, no, we've accumulated so much information, better team, like an amazing team. We use the brilliance now to create more products. Now we have these no bread peanut butter jelly SKUs, which is not a chocolate item. So completely pivoted, but the organization to a midday snacking business. So afternoon snacking, not functional chocolate bars only. And like, I look at the old SKUs and it's like, it reminds me of a different time in the business, like the first SKU that you're talking about. And I just see us as like a time when we were just learning and just starting, and like we've come such a long way. So these other SKUs remind me of progress a lot more. But again, like, it's okay to change your products over time as long as your core values remain the same. I think that's important. So I always say, someone once said, strong opinions loosely held. I think that's really important as you build your products, and what you do at the beginning might not be what you do today. And that's okay too. And so it's our bottom seller.
Is it more of like a protein snack? Because I know you portray yourself as, everything a chocolate isn't, but...
So that's vintage statements. Like that's a great example. So it used to be that. So
okay.
It's just, you know what it is? It's just an afternoon snack that's in the better for you space, that's indulgent. And you could have it every day at 2 p.m. and it's part of your routine. And that's what we're going for. We used to call them functional chocolate bars. Now we're called afternoon snacking. Very big difference, but same alignment in terms of values. We believe in good ingredients. We believe in good taste. We like a little bit of function, so a little bit of protein, a little bit of fiber. We believe in that. And something that also just makes you feel good. That's the values of the organization. So those haven't changed. but we're now open to more innovation and more, maybe a little more wildness. That like a peanut butter jelly, I never thought when we started the business we'd have a PBJ, no bread PBJ product. I would have never bet against. I would have told you absolutely not. But that's becoming our number one selling item.
And all of these they're sold here, even in the US,
All over
right?
US. So we're about 60+% US, 40% Canada. By the end of this year, I'll probably be at 75% US, 25% Canada.
All states.
Yeah, every state, every province and every state, it's in the refrigerated section of the store. So Target, Whole Foods, Sprouts, all the little Erewhon, all these different stores, many, many big ones are coming on this year.
Yeah.
In Canada, we're in Costco, we're in Walmart in Canada, all these different amazing places. And then online on our website is about 30%. D2C is about 30% of our business.
Interesting. I'm curious, how does the process go of kind of moving to wholesale, right? And kind of, partnering with all those like...
We started as a business in D2C only. So it was, online only. And then we got a bagel shop in Montreal. This is in like 2018 that took a chance on us. And you never forget the first person to believe in you and said, I'll sell your product on consignment. So like, I'll take a box. And I'll never forget, we were so excited because we were just selling online at the time. And this was a huge moment. Bagel shop, whoa, this is crazy. Midday Squares, like getting our first real shot. And in the first hour, I sent messages to everybody I knew. I said, guys, go now, buy the product. It's available XYZ, post about it. And they did. People showed up, friends and family, sold it out in the first like hour or so. I can't remember, maybe 2 hours. And he was freaking out, the guy. And he's like, oh my God, we got to order more. I'm like, I'll deliver you right away. Deliver, same strategy. And then people start to see it on social media and they're like, other retailers are like, wait, I want to try this. I want to try this. I want to try it. And then we did the same strategy internally in Montreal, in the local community. And it actually got us to now over 10,000 stores with some of the biggest retailers in the world. But again, it all started with someone believing, taking a chance, and then you doing everything in your power. Doesn't matter what you have to do, as long as you are doing good things, not breaking the law, to sell the product.
It starts with a little thing and then the momentum just like flows, right?
Momentum's human's greatest force. If you use it in the right direction. So like momentum uses this way or that way. Good meaning like it just keeps compounding. But also if you're negative and you're like, I can't do this or I won't do this, it starts to compound the other way. And next thing you know, you're in a horrible spiral. So I think that like as an entrepreneur, it's really critical to captivate momentum when you have it and just go. Let it compound to infinite amount of opportunities.
I love your energy. I love the confidence because I feel like you've been through so many things, right? You've lived by all these experiences. I also want to know, like, even today, are there things that like stress you out on the daily that you're worried about? What are these things? I'm so curious.
I had a burnout 3 years ago, close to 3 years ago, that almost destroyed my life. I took 40 plus days off of work. I wanted to give away the company. I didn't care. The company was growing, was doing very well. I was going too hard for many years and I didn't take a minute to think. And I thought I was unstoppable as a human. So I'll never forget, I was going from like 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. I was traveling to 120 plus flights a year for work. And I just said to myself, I ignored every sign: exhaustion, lethargia, lack of motivation. Like I was just pushing through everything. I was using caffeine and I love caffeine, but I was using all these different things. And then suddenly it just collapsed. And I went through this burnout where I had so much anxiety. I didn't recognize who I was. I started to gain OCD, tremendous amounts of OCDs that I couldn't live my life. And it came out of nowhere, like a snap of a finger. And I realized I went tons of therapy, I did tons of things for basically a year to get out of that process and to learn. And what I learned is we are not unstoppable as humans. Doesn't matter how much momentum you have, no matter how much conviction you have, how much energy you have, we still need to take care of ourselves as humans. So I compare the analogy to a car. A car will come to you and say, I have oil change necessary, or I need my brakes, or the brake light comes on, or you have no gas, or your battery runs out if you have an electric car. Eventually the car just stops and it won't go. So it's the same thing with us. We just go, and we don't take a second to step back, recharge, and go back at it. And now I'm super grateful I went through that experience because it was something that needed to happen in my life because I ignored every sign I thought I was literally a robot. And now I take time. I'm healthier. I know when to recharge. I know when to ask myself, are you okay? The things that have changed is simply like I've become more mature emotionally in understanding myself. And the anxieties I have today are less of like the business. It's more like I've changed roles so many times. You start the business, you're the founding team, you're doing everything. And then you start to play to your strengths, but it's like, you start passing off a lot of things that you did and other people start running the business. So like sometimes I'll be like, am I doing enough? Like, I don't know, but like I'm doing massive things that are like, it looks differently. Like I look at videos from the past, I'm like, I used to love doing that. Like hand making the bar. That was like so much fun. I kind of missed that era. So yeah, I still have energy, anxiety but energy comes from, doing what you love and also being around people that are cool. And I'm spending a lot of time investing in how do I surround myself with really cool people around the world and even go fly there for a day to go hang with them, even if there's no business benefit, just energy benefit. So that's how I think about my life. And I think that anyone's listening, as you build your 0 to 1 phase, just be very careful of burnout. It is a real thing and it affects people differently. It can affect you for a day, it can affect you for 10 years. And it's not medical advice or anything. It's just my personal experience.
So we always do this fun little end section in the podcast, which is a rapid fire. So we're going to shoot a bunch of questions at you and you got to give us your most immediate, authentic thought, okay?
So I'm so bad at rapid fire, but we're going to do this and I'll tell you why. I once went on the show, what's the show called? Family Feud in Canada. You know Family Feud?
Oh, yeah.
So I went on it. I didn't know, I liked the show. I watched it before. I loved it and I was so bad. Our family did so bad because it was fast paced. I was like, ah. And so anyways, we'll do the rapid fire, but we had a lot of fun on Family Feud. I'd come back if you invite me.
It doesn't have to be too rapid too.
No, hit me hard.
This is your redemption arc.
Yeah,
so
this
for
is-
all Family Feud watching.
And honestly, I love Family Feud. It's a fun show.
So what's more important, product or storytelling?
Product first, then storytelling. But you need both. Starts with a product, and then the story allows people to find your product and to try your product. And then the product then reinforces the repurchase.
So one thing you'd never do again after your earlier failures.
I would never be a CEO again, ever. It's not for me. That being said, I know I'm a great Rainmaker and a great brand builder. So put me in that, put me in coach. I get you the Stanley Cup. I get you the trophy. Know your strengths.
Okay, what's one thing that instantly makes content boring?
Inauthenticity.
So if Midday Square wasn't a chocolate brand, what would it be?
Clothing. I just think the Midday brand would be cool.
Okay, and this next one is kind of taking off of what our podcast is called. It's called 0 to 1 because we want to tell people's story. So I'm curious from your journey from 0 to who you are today, what has been the biggest lesson you've learned?
The most important thing I've learned from my from my experience of, let's say, over a decade of entrepreneurship is, and failing and succeeding and success and whatever, a little bit of success, is it's going to take a lot longer than you think, and that's okay. It's not a 2-year overnight success story. It's a 10+ year overnight success story, 20-year. And there's anomalies that do it quicker. But patience and showing up every day, even through the pain, the hardship, and getting back up for a very long period of time is how you win the biggest. And it's going to be painful. It's going to be the best moments of your life. And it's really fucking hard. And you just got to keep getting back up. And if you do, the one who lasts the longest usually wins the biggest.
I love it.
100%. I agree.
I read something recently, and I think it's important, whether you use this in the podcast or not, it's great. I read something, and it was something about 2 phone calls. And it's imagine yourself, you're the one answering the phone call. You're the same person answering the phone call from the same person. So the person's asking you one question, simple question. And you're 80 years old when you answer the phone call. And the first person answers and says, they say, how was it? Like, how was your life? And the 80-year-old, which is you, says, oh, it was good. I got through it. It was a good time. I was comfortable, enjoyable, and that was it. But then you say, I wanted to do something. I had this idea, but I never got to it. But it's okay. It's all good. Nothing wrong with that. Now the second call comes, the same person, it's you at 80, and now the person says, how was it? How was your life? You say, I don't even know where to start. I had so much fun. I could talk to you stories from here to there. And the difference is that the second person chose to live an on-average life. They chose to make those decisions that might have not been the scary yes to say, or the coffee you went to that you really didn't want to go to, or the business you started, or the career you changed. And you have those stories. You have that. And the moral is you can either choose to live an average life every day of your life, making average decisions, or you can choose to make unaverage decisions, which are scary, unaverage outcomes. So you have the risk, but you have all these failures and successes that you're going to want to share because you're grateful you went through those experiences. You have so much to write about. The first person just says it was comfortable, it was good, like it's enjoyable. Be the second person if you have that. If you could choose between those 2 people, be the second.